I grew up in a small town where everyone knew each other and your last name carried weight. My father, a welder by trade and a man of unwavering principles, spent years in the industry, forging a reputation built on precision and reliability. He expected nothing less from me. By the time I turned 13, he had already placed a welding torch in my hand, guiding me through the delicate balance between heat and metal. The first time I laid a proper bead, I saw the pride in his eyes, subtle but unmistakable. My mother, on the other hand, had different aspirations for me. She wanted me to pursue college, fearing that welding would be a hard, thankless job that would wear me down over time. But my mind had been made up. I liked working with my hands, seeing the tangible results of my labor. There was something fulfilling about taking raw steel and shaping it into something useful. Lucy and I met in our sophomore year. She was bright, ambitious, and had a way of lighting up every room she walked into while I was quiet and methodical. She was expressive and fearless. We balanced each other out in ways that made me believe we were meant to be by senior year. I had no doubts. She was the one we made plans, whispered dreams about our future, and promised to take on the world together. Our decision to marry right after graduation wasn't impulsive in our minds. It felt inevitable. Everyone had their doubts. Though her parents outright disapproved, convinced I wouldn't be able to provide the life they envisioned for their daughter. My own parents were hesitant, but chose to support me, knowing I wasn't one to make decisions lightly. Right after the ceremony, we moved into a small apartment on the outskirts of town. I took up welding full-time, working long shifts, determined to prove everyone wrong. Lucy enrolled in college, her tuition fully covered by my earnings. The long hours didn't bother me. I wore them like a badge of honor. What mattered was that she had everything she needed. For a while, we were happy we had each other, and that was enough. But as time passed, I started noticing shifts. Small, almost imperceptible. At first, her smiles became less frequent. The excitement in her voice whenever she talked about us dimmed. And before I knew it, the foundation we built our marriage on started to crack. My name is Stan Shipman, and for the past 5 years, I've been married to Lucy, formerly Lucy Dalton. We were high school sweethearts, convinced our love was unbreakable. So convinced, in fact, that we rushed into marriage right after graduation, certain that love alone would sustain us. In hindsight, I realized just how naive we were. Finances were never an issue. I had been welding since I was a teenager, a skill I learned from my father. He got me involved in metalwork early on, giving me small projects at home since I was too young to work on construction sites. After high school, I briefly enrolled in a welding program, but it felt like a waste of time. I already knew the trade inside and out, so instead of sitting through classes, I took the certification exam early, passed with flying colors, and jumped straight into the workforce. My experience in fabrication and fitting helped me land a solid job quickly. As I gained more expertise, I started taking on larger projects that required travel, which significantly increased my income. Eventually, I even got into underwater welding, dangerous work, but the pay made it worth the risk. My earnings ensured Lucy could attend college without accumulating a single of debt. Her parents never believed I could support her education, but I proved them wrong when she graduated. They were just as proud of me as they were of her. In that moment, I thought we were on top of the world. But that feeling didn't last. Lucy landed a job as a pargal at McMaster and Fredericks, a prestigious law firm. At first, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but gradually her priorities shifted. She started spending more and more time with a group of coworkers, particularly a circle of women who, to put it bluntly, didn't exactly encourage loyalty or stability. At first, she only went out on Wednesdays, which I didn't mind. My work kept me busy anyway. But then Friday nights, our nights, became part of her routine with them. When I brought it up, she dismissed it without a second thought. We can have date nights on Saturdays. Instead, I deserve time with my friends, she said casually before I knew it. Her late nights turned into all-nighters. At first, she'd come home around midnight. Then it stretched to 2. And when I tried to call her straight to voicemail one Saturday morning, as she sat at the kitchen table scrolling through her phone, I finally decided to confront her. "We need to talk," I said, setting my coffee mug down. She barely acknowledged me about what Friday nights that used to be our time. "Lucy, now I hardly see you. What's really going on?" She let out a long sigh and put her phone down. "It's just a night out, Stan. We have a few drinks, dance, unwind. That's all. I wasn't buying it. Club's close at 1. So what are you doing until 4 in the morning?" She narrowed her eyes. "If you must know, we usually grab food afterward for 3 hours. She hesitated before nodding. Sometimes I shook my head. This can't keep happening. You're my wife, Lucy, not just another member of their friend group. They spend more time with you than I do. I don't mind you having a night out, but this is too much." She sighed, rubbing her temples. "Fine. If it bothers you that much, I'll stop going out on Fridays." I wanted to believe her. "Good. We need to get back to where we used to be." She nodded and left to take a shower. But the moment she walked away, I did something I never imagined I would. I installed a tracking app on her phone. I hated myself for it. But I needed answers for a short while. Things seemed better. She stayed home on Fridays, and we reconnected. But it didn't take long for old habits to creep back in. Missed calls, late nights, and a growing distance between us. That Friday, after a long day at work, I checked the app. She wasn't at a club. She was at a bar. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed my keys and drove there the second I stepped inside. I spotted her. She sat at a table with a mix of women and men. But my eyes locked onto one guy. The one sitting way too close, laughing a little too much. No one noticed me until I was standing at their table. The man next to Lucy was the first to react. He looked me over with mild irritation. "Can I help you?" I smirked, just got off work, thought I'd grab a beer. Imagine my surprise running into my wife here. Lucy's face went pale. After a short, awkward pause, she cleared her throat. "Everyone, this is Stan, my husband." I folded my arms, offering the group a sharp yet falsely polite smile. "Nice to meet you all." Then I noticed something. Her wedding ring was missing. So was the engagement ring, keeping my voice. Even I asked, "Did you forget something?" She glanced down at her bare left hand. "Didn't want to lose them," she said lightly, as if it were no big deal. "Sure, I see," I muttered. The man beside her stood up, stretching out a hand. "Jake Rollins," he introduced himself, smirking. "Lucy and I work together a lot." The others chuckled, everyone except Lucy. He tightened his grip, probably trying to assert dominance. I squeezed back just enough to make him uncomfortable before letting go. "I was just about to ask your wife to dance," he said, rubbing his hand. "That cool with you?" I turned to Lucy. "Is that what you want?" She hesitated, then nodded. Fine, if she wanted to embarrass me. I wanted to witness it firsthand. "Go ahead," I said. "Just remember, she's my wife and I'll be watching." Jake grinned. Before leading Lucy to the dance floor, I slid into his seat and ordered a beer. Most of the group had scattered, leaving only one woman at the table. "You know you don't own her," she said. After a moment, I glanced at her. "And you are Marie Compton. I've been mentoring Lucy at work." I raised an eyebrow. "So, Marie, why exactly should I take marriage advice from you?" She took a slow sip of her drink. "I'm her friend, and I know what's best for her." I didn't like the way she said that. "Good for you," I said flatly. "But if something's affecting my marriage, I have every right to be concerned." Marie smirked. "Lucy's world has always been small school than you. She needs to experience more." I leaned in slightly, and by experience more. "What exactly do you mean?" Marie shrugged. "I think you already know," I chuckled dry, "and I suppose you expect me to just be okay with that." She arched a brow. "Maybe she'll bring something new home to you." I met her gaze without flinching. "No thanks. I take my vows seriously." She glanced at my hand. "No wedding ring. I take it off when I weld, but I wear it every other time." I paused. "What about you? Ever been married?" She smirked twice. I tilted my head. "Let me guess, your husband's caught you cheating." She shrugged. "Yeah, so what? I don't belong to anyone. I do what I want." I let out a slow breath. "Well, Lucy is married, and I expect you to respect that." Marie chuckled. Swirl her drink. "Yeah, you keep telling yourself that." As Jake and Lucy returned from the dance floor, I stood up, making sure Lucy sat between me and Marie. Jake shot me a look, clearly irritated, but I didn't acknowledge it. His feelings weren't my concern. So Jake said, breaking the silence, "Lucy mentioned you're a welder?" "Yeah, that's right," I replied. Meeting his gaze, he leaned back, smirking that pay. "Well, what, $15 an hour?" I let out a slow chuckle. "Try 35 lot more if I'm underwater welding." I took a sip of my beer, then added, "Oh, and in case Lucy forgot to mention, I covered all her college expenses." His eyebrows lifted slightly. "You're paying off her student loans, no loans," I corrected. "I paid everything up front, also bought her that new Toyota she's driving." Jake's smirk faltered for a split second before he recovered. "Didn't know welders made that kind of money," he admitted. Then, with a knowing grin, he nudged me. "Bet you have some fun on the road, huh?" I kept my expression blank. "No, I work long shifts and respect my marriage." His cocky grin told me everything I needed to know about him. These people were getting on my last nerve. I turned my attention to Lucy. "You drove here?" "Yeah," she said. "Good," I said, standing up. "I'm done for the night. See you at home." As I turned, I accidentally knocked over a full beer right onto Jake's lap. His khakis absorbed the liquid instantly. "Oops," I said with zero remorse. "Might want to go change." Jake's shot-up face twisted in anger, fists clenched at his sides. "Go ahead," I said, locking eyes with him, daring him to make a move for a second. I thought he might, but then he hesitated and took a step back. "Smart choice," I told him before turning to Lucy. "You coming?" She nodded quickly. "Right behind you." As I walked out, I could feel Marie's stare drilling into my back. Lucy pulled into the driveway a few minutes after me. Good. I grabbed a beer from the fridge and settled into the living room waiting. She stormed in face, flushed with frustration. "What the hell was that? You embarrassed me, did I?" I asked, voice calm. As I took a sip, she folded her arms. "Are you following me?" I shook my head. "Nope. Just happened to be in the same place at the same time." A lie. The first one I'd ever told her. Then again, she was the one who took off her wedding ring. You embarrassed me. First, I said, keeping my gaze fixed on her. Lucy's expression softened slightly. That wasn't my intention. She replied, Jake is the attorney I work with the most. I have to keep things professional. I narrowed my eyes and, Marie, she's been mentoring me. Lucy said, her voice steady, helping me navigate things at the firm. I leaned in slightly. Does that include relationship advice? Lucy frowned, confusion flickering across her face. What do you mean? I exhaled sharply while you were dancing. Marie made it clear she thinks you need to spread your wings and explore new horizons. So I'll ask you straight, Lucy. Are you cheating on me? Her gaze dropped to the floor. No, but she wouldn't look at me when she said it. Are you lying? I pressed, because that's the one thing I won't forgive. She hesitated. Marie suggested that maybe you were messing around when you travel for work. I let out a humorless laugh. That's a lie, Lucy. We've known each other since we were kids. Have I ever cheated on you? She shook her head. No, and I never will. I said firmly, I pull 16-hour days to provide for us. I know, she murmured. I see your payroll exactly. I pressed. That's what covered your tuition, your car, everything. I'm even saving for a house, so maybe Marie should keep her unsolicited opinions to herself. Lucy studied me. You really don't like her? Do you not at all? I admitted, she's feeding you poison, same with Jake. I don't trust either of them. Did you know? Marie's been divorced twice, both times for cheating. Her eyes widened. How do you know that? She told me, I said, and she wasn't ashamed of it. Lucy stayed silent. They're pulling you into something messy. I continued. But you haven't done anything wrong, have you? She sighed. No, Stan, I haven't. It's just what? I asked, my voice low. I like going out with them. She admitted. Well, I like spending time with you. I countered. Think you can start doing more of that. Her shoulders relaxed and she wrapped her arms around me. I'm sorry. It's okay, I murmured. You know, I've only ever wanted 3 things in life. She leaned back, smiling. Yeah, what's that? 1, to be married to you. 2, to be the best welder in the business. And 3, to have a family with you. Her grin widened. Well, you've got the first 2, want to work on the 3rd. I chuckled. Let's do it. That night we reconnected for a while. Things seemed better. Lucy stayed home on Fridays, and I put in more effort to be present. I stopped mentioning Marie and Jake, trusting Lucy to make her own choices. Then everything changed. One Friday, I came home to find the house dimly lit, the dining table carefully set with candles. The warm scent of lasagna filled the air. Stepping inside, I noticed our finest china, neatly arranged. As I turned, Lucy stood in the doorway, looking stunning like it. She asked, her voice soft. I nodded. Good, she said with a wink. Tonight is special. Why, it's a surprise, she teased. Go freshen up while I finish dinner. After changing, I returned to find the lasagna served, 2 glasses of wine poured. You always make the best lasagna, I said, taking a seat. I hope you enjoy tonight. She said, a playful edge to her voice. I dug in, savoring every bite until something felt wrong. My head grew heavy. My vision blurred. I tried to stand, but the room spun around me. I looked at Lucy, confused. Then darkness. I woke up bound to a chair in our bedroom. My wrists were strapped to the armrests, my ankles secured to the legs. What the hell, I growled, struggling against the restraints. Lucy. A few minutes later, she entered with Marie right behind her. Untie me, I demanded. Lucy hesitated. I'm sorry, she whispered. Marie said this is for the best, for what Marie smirked. So you can watch Lucy expand her horizons. My stomach dropped. I turned to my wife. Did you plan this? Marie answered before Lucy could have. Of course she did. I clenched my jaw and you agreed to this. Lucy looked down. Marie said it was the only way. The only way for what? It won't change anything, she murmured. I still love you, nonsense, I snapped. What the hell did you put in my food? Marie laughed. Relax, just something to keep you nice. And still, while Lucy has her fun, I tighten my fists. Lucy, untie me now. She shook her head. Please, Stan, don't make this harder. It's just one night. You're out of your damn mind, I said coldly. Then two men entered the room. I watched as they approached her, and she didn't resist. When she finally untied me, I grabbed my phone. What are you doing? Lucy asked, panic rising in her voice. I dialed emergency. I may be a welder, I said, but I'm not an idiot. Her face turned ghostly white as reality sank in. I had just reported her for unlawful restraint and attack. Panic flickered in her eyes as she lunged for her phone, but I was faster. I snatched it off the table before she could grab it. Digging into her purse, I found my car keys and took them as well. No way was I letting her bolt give them back. She pleaded desperation, lacing her voice as she reached for them. I stuffed the keys into my pocket. Not happening. She exhaled sharply, realizing she had no way out. Defeated, she backed away, watching as I sat down, arms crossed, waiting for the police to arrive. Please don't press charges, she begged, voice trembling. I can't go to jail. That's probably the safest place for you right now. I said coldly, get dressed. They'll be here soon. You don't understand, she whispered, her eyes darting around like she was searching for an escape. Jake and Marie, this is bigger than you think. I don't care, I shot back. Put your clothes on. Seeing the firm resolve in my face, she obeyed. As she hurriedly pulled on her clothes, her phone vibrated in my pocket. I pulled it out and glanced at the screen, a message from Marie. Marie, everything okay? I quickly typed a response. Yeah, he's pissed, but he'll get over it. Sliding the phone back into my pocket, I heard the sound of sirens growing closer. Moments later, red and blue lights flashed through the window as uniformed officers stepped out of their cruisers. One glance at me, and they could tell something was seriously wrong. Two officers entered, one immediately taking my statement, while another pulled Lucy aside for questioning. It didn't take long. Within minutes, they exchanged a silent look, then nodded to each other. Lucy emerged from the bedroom in handcuffs, her wrist locked behind her back, fresh, tears streaking down her face. Please don't let them take me, she sobbed. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It was just for fun. I didn't respond. I couldn't even look at her. Two more squad cars was pulled up, followed by an ambulance. A female officer stepped inside, her presence calm but authoritative, and gently led Lucy out the door. The officer who had taken my statement approached me. She's in custody, he confirmed. We strongly recommend you get checked out at the hospital. The more medical evidence we collect, the stronger the case will be. He handed me a business card. This is the assistant district attorney assigned to your case. She'll meet you at the hospital to go over next steps. I nodded in thanks, still feeling numb, as I followed the paramedics outside on the way to the ER. They ran a basic assessment, checking my vitals and asking about symptoms. My head was still foggy, but the anger running through my veins kept me alert. Once at the hospital, doctors ran tests, collected samples, and gave me something for the pounding headache creeping in just as I started to unwind. The door swung open. A sharply dressed woman entered, her expression unreadable. Stan Shipman. Yeah, that's me. She extended a hand. Linda Calloway, Assistant District Attorney. How are you holding up? I exhaled. I've been better. She gave a curt nod. The officers filled me in. We have Jake and Marie in custody as well, but given their connections, I'm petitioning to deny them ballet for the first time in hours. I felt a spark of hope. Then, she added, unfortunately, considering their influence in this county, they'll likely be released. My jaw clenched. Why, she sighed. Their firm has strong ties with local law enforcement and judiciary officials. That's why I'm also filing for a protective order on your behalf. I scoffed. And will that actually do anything? It might, she admitted. But I can't make any guarantees. I nodded, understanding they'll remain in custody until their arraignment on Monday. She continued, and after that I asked, I'm just a regular guy. I don't have money or powerful connections. What happens then? Her expression hardened. You have me, Mr. Shipman, as long as you don't do anything reckless. But I'd strongly advise hiring a divorce attorney unless you plan on staying married. I let out a dry laugh. No, I'm done. She nodded, satisfied. Uke, be kept overnight for observation. Your home is now an active crime scene, so investigators will need time to process it. Then she hesitated. Do you own a firearm? I shook my head. No good, she said. But just so you know, our state has strong self-defense laws. If you ever need to protect yourself in your own home, have that right. I'll keep that in mind. By morning, my parents arrived at the hospital. Once they were settled, I sat them down and told them everything. By the time I finished, my father's hands had baled into fists. He exhaled sharply. What's your next move, son? I'm filing for divorce, I said without hesitation. My father gave a firm nod. Good call. My mother reached over, her voice gentle. Is there anything we can do? I need the name of a solid divorce lawyer, I replied. My dad thought for a moment before nodding again. I know a few. I'll get you a name. I glanced between them, and I need a ride home. No problem, he said. Just call when you're ready. He gave me a look, and don't do anything stupid. I smirked. Come on, Dad, you know me. He chuckled. Yeah, that's why I said it. We shared a brief laugh before they left. Not long after Lucy's parents arrived, they looked mortified, like they didn't know whether to apologize or just leave. You're divorcing her, aren't you? Her father asked quietly. Yeah, I said, there's no coming back from this. I understand, he said, sounding ashamed. I'm sorry for what she did. Is there anything we can do? Her mother asked softly. I sighed. Shek going to need a place to stay. The Ada is filing a restraining order, so she won't be allowed back at my apartment. She can stay with us, her mother said immediately. Thank you, I said sincerely. We exchanged a few more words before they left. That afternoon, after being cleared for discharge, I called my dad. He and my mom arrived just in time, and after signing some paperwork, I was wheeled to the car back at my apartment. I immediately noticed the mess. The police had gone through everything, and it would take time to get things back in order. But one thing caught my attention right away. A flashing light on my answering machine, I pressed play. A distorted voice came through. The speaker, dead, neat, no context, no explanation, just those two words. The caller ID was blocked. Something about the voice seemed oddly familiar, so I replayed it then again. That's when it hit me. It wasn't a real voice. The phrase was lifted directly from an old Rocky movie, the one with Mr. T. Someone had recorded it and played it over the phone. I was still processing this when my doorbell rang. Peering through the peephole, I saw a young brunette standing outside. I recognized her. She had been at the club the night I first met Jake. I glanced down the hallway. Empty. She was alone. Something felt off. I pulled out my phone, switched on the camera, set it to record, and slid it back into my pocket. Before unlocking the door, I left the chain hooked through the small gap. I asked, "Yes." A quiet voice responded. "Mr. Shipman, that's me." I said. She hesitated. "You're Stan Shipman?" "Yeah, and you are?" "My name is Holly Brinkman. She said I work with your wife. Can I come in?" I studied her for a moment. "Are you alone?" "Yes." After a brief pause, I shut the door just long enough to unhook the chain, then opened it fully and stepped aside. When she was inside, I locked the door behind her, turned and folded my arms. "What can I do for you, Holly?" She handed me a manila envelope. I stared at it. "What's this?" She exhaled. "Just open it." I placed the envelope on the coffee table, then went to the kitchen, grabbing a pair of latex gloves. Before carefully handling the contents inside a stack of photographs of a dead man, I frowned, flipping through the images. The body was lifeless, face pale, eyes empty. His throat had been slit. The scene looked staged. "Who is this?" I asked. Glancing at Holly, tears welled up in her eyes. "My husband. His name was Brian." I looked back at the photos. "Did you go to the police?" She nodded. "They called it a self-destruction." "How'd he die?" "You don't understand." She whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "The law firm controls everything. Police, judges, even politicians. They own half this city, from the courtroom to the gutter." I exhaled sharply. "Jake." She gave a small, bitter shrug. "If he didn't do it himself. He made sure it happened." I studied her. "Then, why are you still working there?" Her shoulders tensed. "Because I don't have a choice." I narrowed my eyes. "You're not just a parallel, are you?" She looked away. "No," she admitted quietly. "They did to us what they tried to do to you." My husband fought back. Her voice broke and he paid the price. My stomach twisted. "So you're what a toy for the firm?" She nodded, shame flooding her face. "I belong to them. My job is to be available to the lawyers, to the clients, to whoever they decide. And Marie, she runs the whole operation." Holly said bitterly. "She decides who gets assigned, where keeps everything under wraps." My jaw tightened, and Lucy, Holly. Silence was all the confirmation I needed. I reached into the envelope again and pulled out a folded piece of paper. The message was crude, a collection of magazine clippings pasted onto the page. "Stan Shipman, stand down or you'll be next cliché." But I wasn't about to shrug it off. "You read this?" I asked. She shook her head. "No. It was left at my apartment this morning. The note came with instructions to bring it straight to you." I turned the paper over in my hands, thinking, "Are you willing to take this to the district attorney?" Her whole body tensed. "No, I just want out. You don't know what these people are capable of, especially Marie." I inhaled slowly. How many at the firm know about this? Anyone above middle management? I nodded. Processing all right, Holly. Thanks for telling me, she sighed, rubbing her arms like she was cold. I really am sorry. You seem like a good guy. Lucy was lucky. I let out a dry chuckle. Yeah, lucky. I walked her to the door. She hesitated for a moment, but then stepped out. I waited. Scanning the hallway before locking up the message on my answering machine was bad enough. Now this. My plans had changed. Divorce was still on the table, but now survival was too. I pulled my phone from my pocket, played back the recording I'd secretly taken during my conversation with Holly, and made sure every word was captured. Then I reached for the business card on the table. Linda Calloway, Assistant District Attorney. Her personal number was scribbled on the back. I dialed. She picked up on the second ring. This is Calloway. It's Stan. I said we need to talk. I just got a voicemail and a hand-delivered threat, a brief silence. Then her tone shifted. That changes everything. Bring it to me now. She rattled off an address. I hung up and exhaled. I needed to leave town. I grabbed a duffel bag, packed some clothes, and then hesitated, aided. A thought struck me, and I turned back inside, retrieving the object Lucy had used on me that night. I wasn't sure why I took it. Maybe I needed a reminder, or maybe I had other plans. Before heading out, I loaded a few welding tools into my truck. Then I called my boss. The job's wrapped up and you've got vacation days saved. He said without hesitation, take whatever time you need. Thanks, boss. One last check of the apartment. Then I locked up and hit the road. Half an hour later, I was at Linda's door. She paled as she flipped through the photographs and read the note. You said you recorded your conversation? She asked. I nodded and pulled out my phone. You'll want to hear this. I hit play. She listened intently, fingers pressed against her temple. When the recording ended, she exhaled. This explains a lot. Send me a copy. I handed her my phone, letting her transfer the file. Then something else clicked. I still had Lucy's phone. I pulled it from my pocket. I took this the night Jake attacked me. Forgot all about it. Linda's eyes widened as she took the device. This might be a gold mine. She turned it over in her hands. I'll have my tech team dig through it. But honestly, I might need to go over local heads. If Holly's right, we can't trust anyone in law enforcement here. She studied me. What's your next move? I'm leaving town for a while. She nodded. That's smart. You should consider witness protection. I scoffed. Yeah, because that works so well. She sighed. Fine, but stay in touch. Will do. I left no clear destination, just the open road ahead. First stop was the bank. I withdrew as much cash as possible, keeping an eye on my surroundings. The dead man in those photos haunted me. He had fought back. Now he was in a morgue. If I wasn't careful, I'd end up the same by late afternoon. Exhaustion finally caught up with me. I pulled into a rest stop and dialed a number. After a few rings, a familiar gruff voice answered, Yeah, Dave, it's Stan. Dave and I had worked together for years. He was solid. No questions, no judgments. His tone immediately lightened. Stan, you old fool, what's up? I need a place to crash for a few days. Say no more, he said without hesitation. Just grab a couple of six-packs on your way. I exhaled, relieved. You got it. A little weight lifted off my shoulders. As I hit the freeway heading north, I stopped at a convenience store, grabbing beer, ice, and coffee. For good measure, I picked up some cigarettes. Dave smoked like a chimney by Am. I pulled into his driveway. The porch light flicked on as he stepped outside, stretching. "I hope you brought the beer," he said, grinning. As I handed him the cigarettes, I carried my cooler to the kitchen, then stopped in my tracks. A blonde woman in a long t-shirt and pajama shorts was coming down the stairs. I turned to Dave. "Who's the knockout?" He burst out laughing. "You're an idiot." The woman said that voice. I knew it. I looked closer, Beverly. She smirked. "You surprised, dumbass." The gangly teenager I remembered had grown into a confident, striking woman. She crossed her arms. "What are you doing here at this hour?" "Lucy finally caught you cheating and threw you out." I let out a dry laugh. Not quite. Her teasing expression faded as her eyes landed on my bruises. "Stan," she said quietly, "what the hell happened?" I exhaled. "That's why I'm here." Dave clapped a hand on my shoulder. "Come on, grab a beer and spill it." I pulled 3 bottles from the cooler, handing one to Dave. I turned to Beverly. "Are you even old enough to drink?" Beverly rolled her eyes, flipped me off, and grabbed the beer. "Start talking." "This is going to be awkward," I warned. She shrugged. "We're adults, just spill it." So I did. I told them everything. Lucy, Marie, Jake, the threats. Then I played the recording of my conversation with Holly. The room fell silent. "Crap," Dave muttered, setting down his beer. "Think they know where you are?" "I doubt it," I said. "No signs of a tail." "Good. This place is hard to sneak up on. I still have that tool I bought from your dad after Mikey's accident." "You remember how to shoot?" I nodded. "Yeah, but I haven't held a tool since that day. Years ago, my younger brother, Mikey, had an accidental discharge with my dad's .22. He survived, but it scared my father enough to get rid of all his tools." Dave smirked. "No problem. We'll head out back tomorrow. Let you shake off the rust. Bev can help too." I glanced at her. She smirked. "I'm a damn good shot." "Does your dad know you're here?" Dave asked. I shook my head. "No, but I should update the Ada. I'll call your parents in the morning." Dave said, "For now, turn your phone off. Maybe even pull the battery." I nodded and powered it down. "So Lucy and the others face a judge Monday?" Beverly asked. "Yeah, the DA is pushing for no bail. But after what Holly told me, I'm not hopeful. You can stay as long as you need." Dave assured me in King 2 weeks tops. I said, "Stay as long as you need," he repeated. I exhaled. "Thanks, man." Dave smirked at Beverly. "I'm sure she can think of ways for you to repay us." She rolled her eyes, but I caught the smirk. "Relax," Dave added. "Your family, just breathe." Beverly stretched. "Speaking of family, I'm making breakfast tomorrow. Scrambled eggs, hash browns, sounds great." She headed upstairs. Once her door shut, Dave and I stepped outside for a cigarette. "So what's her story?" I asked. Figured she'd be married with kids by now. Dave exhaled a long stream of smoke. "Never found the right guy. No one measured up. Measured up to what he shot me." "A look, you genius." I blinked. "Nonsense. Not at all. She's always liked you. Only reason she never said anything, Lucy. She didn't want to get in the way." I ran a hand through my hair. "And you're sure she still feels that way?" Dave smirked. "Ever hear her?" At night, I narrowed my eyes. "What?" he chuckled. "Let Tune. Just say she has a toy named Little Stan and your name gets called." I groaned. "Jesus, man, TMI." He laughed, just saying. I shook my head. "Since when did she turn into a knockout?" "She always was." He said, "You just had blinders on for Lucy." I sighed. "Yeah, I remember." Dave's tone shifted. "If something happens between you two, I won't mind. But do me a favor." "What kind?" "Don't mess with her head. If you're done with Lucy, be done. Don't play games. I met his gaze. I'm done good, he said. Now I'm hitting the sack. See ya. In the morning, he flicked his cigarette into the can and walked inside. I finished mine, then crashed on the couch, sleep hitting me instantly. A creak woke me. Rise and shine. Beverly called. I checked the clock, groaning. I forced myself up, shower, and dressed. My eyes landed on my wedding ring. I stared at it for a moment before pulling it off and tossing it onto the dresser. Downstairs, the smell of coffee and eggs filled the air. Beverly stood at the stove flipping eggs. Sunlight framed her perfectly. Smells good, I said, grabbing a coffee mug. She flashed a grin. Coffee's ready. Still take butter pecan creamer. I raised a brow. You remember that fridge is stocked? She said. Just leave some for Dave and me. I poured a cup, adding the creamer, an old habit from my dad. Dave picked it up too, after my father brought it to a job site years ago. Sit, Beverly said. Breakfast is almost done. I took a seat across from Dave, who was buried in the Sunday paper morning. I greeted. He grunted. Morning, anything interesting? He turned the paper around. Big shot lawyer arrested on multiple charges. I skimmed the article, vague. No names, just legal fluff. But I knew exactly who it was about. Beverly rolled in a cart stacked with food. My stomach rumbled. Smells amazing, I said, digging in. Glad you approve, she said with a grin. After breakfast, Dave stood and rinsed his plate. Need to run some errands. Be back in a couple of hours. If I need to call the Ada, I'll use the house phone. I said, good, stay low, he warned. Before heading out, I turned to Beverly. Need help with dishes? She smirked. Not really, but I won't say no. I grabbed a towel, drying. While she washed, she glanced at my hand. So the ring's off. Divorce official? Absolutely, I said. I told her I wouldn't tolerate cheating, and I meant it good, she said with a small smile. Glad you still have a backbone. I chuckled. What about you? Any special someone? She hesitated. There was, but life got in the way. I tilted my head. Yeah, she sighed. After Dad passed, I took care of Mom, worked as a waitress to pay the bills. Then, when she got sick, I quit to care for her full time. After she passed, we had to sell the house. Dave let me keep what was left and promised Mom I could stay here. So here I am. I frowned. He ever offered to pay for school? He did, she admitted, but I refused. Why? She shrugged. I don't like owing anyone. I want to earn it myself. I nodded. Fair enough. That's why I'm working at McDonald's while taking business classes at night, she added. I leaned back, impressed. Good for you. She smiled slightly. Dave has this idea to start a fabrication business. He wants me handling the office work. I raised an eyebrow. He's still talking about that. Yeah, she said he already does custom metal work, grills, trailers, gates. Makes good money. His dream is to turn his backyard shop into a full business. I'd love to see it. I said. A quiet moment settled between us for the first time. I really saw Beverly, not just as Dave's little sister, but as a strong, capable, and beautiful woman. How had I missed it before she caught me staring? What, you're incredible. I admitted, the words slipping out before I could stop them. Her eyes widened slightly before she looked away. Don't mess with me, I'm not. I said, you put your family first. Turned down easy handouts, and now you're building your own life. That's rare. I just wish I'd noticed sooner. She chuckled softly. You were too blinded by Lucy? Yeah, I muttered. Guess I was. She turned off the faucet, drying her hands. She used you. You know, I sighed. Yeah, I see that now. She folded her arms. I saw through her years ago. She said, matter of lie. I frowned. Then why didn't you say anything? She met my gaze evenly. You would have believed me. She was right back then. Lucy could do no wrong in my eyes. I exhaled, my voice quieter. All I wanted was for her to be happy. Beverly scoffed. Yeah, and she took full advantage. She got a degree, a new car, a whole lifestyle on your dime. And when she didn't need you anymore, she moved on. I'm glad she's in jail. If she weren't, I'd have some words for her. I smirked. I believed that she crossed her arms. Just tell me one thing. Are you ever going to take her back? I shook my head. No, the door's closed for good. Good, she said, satisfied. She never deserved you. She stretched and rolled her shoulders. We should clean up before Dave gets back. I need to get the meat out for dinner. You should take a shower. I nodded. Sounds like a plan. What's for dinner? Venison, she said. We barbecue on Sundays. My eyebrows lifted. I love venison. Haven't had it in years. She grinned perfect. I shot at myself with Dave's flint lock. I blinked. You loaded it yourself, of course. She smirked. Patched round ball, 100 grain of double F powder, even mold of the bullet. Myself, I let out a low whistle. Damn, do you fish too? Bait my own hooks and clean my own catch, she said. Matter-of-factly, I shook my head, impressed. Is there anything you? Haven't done. Her smirk widened. Haven't rebuilt Dave's truck gearbox yet, but I did help with the engine. I laughed. I think I'm in love. She chuckled. Save it for tonight. I arched an eyebrow. Oh, with a casual shrug, she added, by the way, you're sleeping in my room now. My bed's bigger. I hesitated. Won't Dave care? She shrugged. Nope. Besides, we're both adults. I ran a hand through my hair. I should call the DA, let her know where I am. Bev pointed to the house phone. Go for it. I dialed, and Linda picked up on the second ring. Stan, I was getting worried. I shut off my cell just in case. I said, Smart, the feds are already investigating your wife's firm. I exhaled, not surprising. One more thing, she added. I lined up a top divorce attorney, for you appreciate it. Call her tomorrow. I'll update you after the hearing. As soon as I hung up, Dave's truck rumbled into the driveway. I stepped outside to help him unload. He handed me a bag. Oh, by the way, I called your folks. I raised an eyebrow. Yeah, he nodded. They were worried. Told them you're here for a while. I nodded. Thanks, man. That night, we grilled venison and ate on the patio after dinner. Dave and I grabbed beers and stepped out for a smoke while Beverly finished tidying up. She said, You're sleeping in her room? Dave said, exhaling smoke. I hesitated. Yeah, for how long, I don't know. Need to sort out the divorce first. Dave shot me a knowing look. You love her? Yes, I admitted. Without hesitation, he nodded. Good. You should have figured that out years ago. He smirked. Look, Bev's tough, but she's been through enough. Just don't break her heart. I'd never hurt her, I said firmly. He held out his hand. Welcome to the family, I shook it. Just keep it down tonight, he added with a grin. I chuckled. I'll try later. After Beverly and I made love, I held her close, feeling something I hadn't in years. Peace. What are you thinking? She murmured the future. I said. She lifted her head slightly. What about it? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? She sighed. I know a lot of women want careers, but that's not me. I want a husband, a family. That's enough. I brushed a strand of hair from her face and your business classes. That's more for Dave. She admitted I'm helping him with his business. But what do you want? She smiled you. I kissed her forehead. I always thought I wanted a perfect marriage, a stable home. Someone I could trust. Thought I had that with Lucy, turns out. I was wrong. She touched my cheek. I know my job takes me away sometimes. I said, you okay with that? She laughed. Please, my brother's a welder. I know how it works. As long as I know you're coming home to me, I can handle anything. I held her gaze. I wish I'd met you before Lucy, me too, she whispered. But we have now, and that's what matters. I love you, I said, kissing her deeply. She smiled against my lips. I love you more. For the first time in a long time, I felt truly home. Beverly was up before anyone else, making breakfast. Before heading to work on her way out, she kissed me. I've got class after my shift, so I'll be back around. She said, behave and remember, I love you. I squeezed her hand. I love you too. She smiled, and for a moment I saw how much those words meant to her behind us. Dave cleared his throat. What no kiss for me? Beverly rolled her eyes, but gave him a quick peck on the cheek. You two try not to burn the house down, she teased. Before heading out, I checked my watch. I need to call that lawyer. Linda recommended. Dave pointed to the phone. Go for it. I dialed, and a receptionist answered promptly. Law office of Bernice Goodwin. How can I help you? I kept my tone direct. My name is Stan Shipman. Linda Calloway said Miss Goodwin was expecting my call. One moment, Mr. Shipman. A brief pause. Then a confident voice came on the line. This is Bernice Goodwin. Tell me everything. I walked her through my situation, outlining the key details. She listened intently, then asked, What are you hoping for? No alimony, I said firmly. Just my fair share of the assets. Given your wife's criminal charges, you're in a strong position. She said I'll send over documents for you to sign electronically, along with a checklist of things to do. The retainer needs to be paid today. Can you handle that? Yes, great. I'll take it from here. After finalizing the payment, I powered up my laptop. Bernice had already sent the documents I signed and returned them, then started working through the financial checklist. Within an hour, I'd set up a personal bank account, transferred half our joint funds, and canceled Lucy's credit card, keeping mine open for now. By noon, Dave and I were in his shop working on a trailer for a local farmer. A welcome distraction. Then the phone rang. Dave picked it up, listened, then handed it to me. It's your lawyer. This is Stan. Bad news. Linda said the judge granted the minimum bail. They're out. My grip tightened. How probably a judge on their payroll. She said the protective order's still in place. But let's be honest, it's just paper. The feds are watching them, but I can't guarantee your safety. Great, I muttered. So what now? Stay put and let me handle it? Call me if anything changes. I hung up. Dave eyed me. What's going on? The judge let them walk. Crap, he muttered. I should call your folks. I'll do it, I said, taking the phone. Dad picked up on the second ring. Hey, son, I didn't waste time. Listen. The judge released Lucy and her crew. You and Mom need to be careful. They might come looking for me. His voice remained steady. Don't worry, we won't tell them a thing. Then, after a brief pause, he asked you, still at John Harrison's. My stomach dropped. John Harrison was a retired molder who lived 2 hours south. Dad knew exactly where I was. Lucy must have forced him to say that I forced my voice to stay calm. No, I checked into a motel about 50 mi south. Dad's response was clipped, his voice tight. Good to know I played along. I'm leaving in the morning heading east. Keep me posted, all right? Yeah, I said, then hesitated. Is Mom there? Check in the bathroom, he answered. But something in his tone sent a chill through me. I strained to hear the background faint noises. Something off my stomach tightened. All right, tell her I love her. I will, son. I prayed they were safe. Dad's voice was steady, but I could hear the weight behind it. We'll talk soon. Yeah, love you. Love you too. As soon as I hung up, I turned to Dave. I think Lucy and her crew were at my parents' place. His jaw tightened. You sure? Pretty damn sure. Without hesitation, I redialed Linda. She picked up instantly. Stan, I think Lucy and her goons are at my parents' house trying to get my location. Her tone sharpened. Hold tight. I'm sending federal agents now. Stay put. As soon as the call ended, I looked back at Dave. They trying to get my parents to give me up. I said, his expression darkened. You think they bought the motel lie? I exhaled. Maybe for a few hours. If they head south first, we've got some time. Dave crossed his arms. Then we need a plan. Maybe you should move again. I shook my head. No, he said firmly. We're in this together. Stay put. I'll talk to the sheriff. Don't go anywhere. I nodded, though my gut twisted with uncertainty. A couple of hours later, Dave left for town not long after Linda called back Stan. You were right. She said Lucy, Marie, Jake, and some of their guys showed up at your parents' place after the hearing. They tied them up, threatened them, but your dad didn't give you up. We arrested one of their guys, but he's not talking. My grip tightened on the phone. Do you know where the others went? Not yet. But they didn't buy the motel story, she admitted. Here, talk to your dad a moment later. Dad's voice came through the line low and tense, Stan. I don't think they fell for it. My chest tightened. Are you guys okay for now? He said. But I think Lucy and her friends are heading your way. I gripped the phone tighter. How do you know? I overheard Lucy talking. My blood ran cold. I turned to Linda. Get the sheriff down here already on it, she said. Where exactly are you? I quickly gave her the address. Her voice sharpened. Does Lucy know this place? I hesitated, then answered grimly. Yeah, stay put. Help is coming. The call ended, but the tension in my chest didn't ease. I turned toward the house, then stopped a voice behind me. Well, thought you could outsmart us. I turned slowly. Jake stood there smirking. My stomach clenched. Nice try with a motel lie. He sneered. Lucky for us. Lucy knew exactly where you'd run. He lifted a tool. Now move. Jake gestured toward a black SUV, his tool making it clear I had no choice. Climbing into the back seat, I found myself face to face with Lucy. Her smirk dripping with arrogance. Thought you could outsmart us. She taunted. I held her gaze. Cops will be here soon. She scoffed. Too late for you. Marie and Jake chuckled up front. Take him to the creek, Jake ordered. As the SUV rumbled down a dirt path, I kept my face neutral. So this is how it ends? I asked, really going to eliminate me? Lucy laughed, dead. Men don't talk. Jake grinned. Letton, finish this. Then a bang, a rifle, then two more. Lucy's smirk vanished as she ducked behind. Jake panicked, sat in a four-wheeler, tore through the wood's dust, swirling in its wake blonde hair flying in the wind. "Beverly," she braked hard, rifle in hand. "Touch him again, and I'll put you in the ground." Lucy froze. Sirens blared in the distance. Beverly grabbed a flare tool and fired a red streak marking our location. Minutes later, flashing lights cut through the trees. Beverly ran straight to me, cupping my face. "Are you okay?" I exhaled tension, finally easing. "Now I am." She smirked. "Took your sweet time needing a rescue." Dave arrived next, his sharp gaze scanning me for injuries. "You good?" I nodded, thanks to Bev. Deputies swarmed the scene while paramedics checked on Lucy and Marie. Marie shrieked, pointing an accusatory finger. She shot Jake and Randy. "Arrest her." The sheriff barely spared her a glance. "Self-defense, Fortress Doctrine applies." "You're lucky." She didn't do worse. Lucy and Marie were cuffed and dragged toward the patrol cars. The sheriff turned to me. "They're being charged with attempted homicide and conspiracy." I nodded, my voice firm goodbye the time the coroner's van rolled away. It was finally over. Beverly and I rode back in silence. The adrenaline wearing off, I glanced at her. "Thought you had class." "Dave found me at work." I dropped everything. I squeezed her waist gently. "How'd you find me?" She smirked, followed tire tracks, climbed into my deer stand, saw what was happening, and reacted. I kissed her. "Temple, I owe you everything." That night I called Linda. "It's over," I said. She sigh in relief. "The feds have what they need. That firm is finished." Lucy and Marie were convicted of attempted homicide, conspiracy, and my attack. Both received life sentences. The firm collapsed under federal charges: racketeering, bribery, multiple homicides. Every partner got life. Their assets were liquidated to pay lawsuits. 6 months later, I was free. Bernice finalized my divorce, securing a settlement from Marie and Jake's estate. When the dust settled, I had more money than I'd ever need. So I bought Beverly a ring and proposed the right way. On one knee she squealed, kissed me breathless, and shouted, "Yes." A month later, we tied the knot in Vegas. When we returned, we hit Dave with a surprise. "DNS, welding and custom fabrications," I said, sliding a business plan across the table. "You in?" He raised an eyebrow. "You serious?" "Hell yeah." He flipped through the pages, nodding slowly. This could work. Then he tossed a set of keys onto the table. "You know that lot on the south side?" Beverly frowned. "Yeah, you see the new 2-bedroom house on it?" "I know." Node thought it was sold. Dave smirked. "Nope, that's your wedding gift for me and your parents." Beverly gasped. "Brand new, fully furnished, already in your names." I shook my head, speechless. Dave chuckled. "Go check it out. I need a break from hearing you two all night." Anyway, Beverly turned red as I laughed. That night we celebrated with family. As Beverly curled against me in our new home, she whispered, "Everything turned out perfect." I kissed her forehead. "Yeah," I murmured. "It really did." It's been 3 years since everything fell apart and then came back together in a way I never expected. Lucy and Marie are locked away right where they belong. Jake didn't make it out alive that night, and I can't say I've lost any sleep over it. The firm collapsed under federal indictments, just like Linda predicted, and every corrupt lawyer in their pocket went down with them. Turns out, their network was bigger than I imagined. Bribery, coercion, even human trafficking. Holly testified, and with LYI protection, she's finally getting a fresh start. As for me, I built my own. The fabrication business took off fast. Dave and I put everything we had into it, and now DNS Welding is one of the most respected names in town. We specialize in custom builds, trailers, gates. Specialty metalwork business is booming. And for the first time in my life, I'm working for myself instead of someone else. But the best part, Beverly, she's been by my side. Through it all. We got married in a quiet ceremony. Just us and a handful of family. No fancy dress, no grand spectacle, just real, honest love. The kind I should have waited for the first time around. Now we've got a house of our own, a little land, and a baby on the way. Sometimes late at night, I still think about how different my life could have been if I hadn't walked into that bar. If I had just let Lucy keep her secrets. Maybe I would have stayed blind, kept welding, kept trying to hold together something that was already broken. But that's not who I am anymore. I build things that last, and this time I'm building the life I was always meant to have.